Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Marco. I'm a former professional opera singer and I love talking about video game music and anime music from an emotional perspective after a decade on the stage. Today we're going to be checking out Withered Flowers from Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. This will be the second track from this series that I've listened to. I'm definitely excited. This is on my future watch list. I recently watched The Witch from Mercury, which I loved. And yeah, let's check it out, shall we? Withered Flowers. Stopping and starting as we go. Nice, it's gonna build. It's increasing in size. Notice the crescendo here. This is pretty cool. Wait, stop. So we have this wonderful increase. So bom, we're building. We're still in that state of disarray, of discomfort, of bleak brokenness. And we're moving forward and actually increasing in tempo as the emotion becomes heavier and heavier. Bassoon, oboe, doubling with the strings. There's the brass. Yeah. And then we pull back, and the piano's the strong dominant force there. Excellent. So one thing worth noting there is that as we increase and grow, we don't have brass right away because brass is fairly bombastic. You know, when you hear brass, right in the face, you know what I mean? Like there's an intensity in that. The brass is really doubling down on the strength and the sadness, the brokenness, the ending of this, right? Right, we want this natural kind of swell into it so that when the brass comes in, there's a heavier emphasis. And that's really smart writing because as we build with the strings and with the oboe, we have doubling. That's where the brass comes in. And it takes us to the next level where it's like sitting in front of a gravestone, looking at it, or watching a friend die, you know, and you're like, what? No. And so the brass emphasizes that emotion, doubles down on that feeling of emptiness. And then, right where I stopped, we switch, and that's where we get the pullback back into the piano. In that pullback, that's where we discover and decipher and feel that sense of like, what the that's decay. That's a returning back. Like, what do you mean? It's real. You know, and that's where the sadness exists. So we have this sort of defiance with the brass, and we start with that same emotion, start with the defiance in the brass, and then we pivot back to the original, but this time because we strip it away and we reset back to the piano. But it's almost like the emotion shifts because resetting back to the piano would be resetting an emotion. Like, what? You know what I mean? It's pretty powerful, and the piano really digs in with this. It's very excellent. It sounds like a Moonlight Sonata, kind of. Oh, a little dissonance there. Nice drum percussion back there. Now the trumpets and the horns take that motif. It's excellent. So what I love about music is that music dials emotions that we feel and dials them up. So, you know, nothing has really changed. It's actually now this is not a negative, but it's a quite repetitive piece. Sometimes repetition can be viewed as a negative thing. In this case, I think it's so beautiful because what it actually does is it triples, doubles, quadruples, eight tuples down on the emotional intensity so that then when we have the brass and you can hear the timpani back there and the cymbals, once you've got that stuff, that's where we really hit home, right? And we're just repeating that phrase over and over and over. But now it's like the tears well up. You can't hold that back. You know, this is really the climax. This piece was a natural sort of like ascension up into this part. The whole thing is building. We get a little bit of an outburst. We kind of pull back. Okay. And then it's like you can't hold back the tears anymore. And that's when all this stuff comes out. And it's excellent. It's excellent because the pacing is really fun because it builds, it goes down, it builds. It resets, now I'm fine. And then you just can't hold it back. And then that's when the release happens, right? Not a hope in sight. pull back, decrescendo. Ooh. Oh my god, wait, that was gorgeous. Listen to the way the strings. So we roll back, we pull all the way back, we reset, and then we get back to the piano, and then listen to how the strings were just like, you know, your hands outstretched, and it's just, you collapse into it, you know. A little bit of dissonance in the harmony there with the second string section. Piano's doing the thing. The violins, the strings envelop the piano. They kind of stop it from doing its thing. And then the bells of death in the background. I actually really love that, because listen to how the strings envelop the piano as it starts to play that melody we've just heard for the last 2 minutes. Listen. Right here. The string comes in. Right there. They envelop the piano and they take over. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And withered flowers, right? Makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. This is literally like, this is death. This is the end of something. This is sitting at the gravesite and the funeral and going through the different degrees of grief and how palpable and how real does that feel? It feels so raw. And it's just an outcry. But it's an effort to be poised, an effort to be controlled. It's probably someone who doesn't ever show emotion. And so it's like, and then you just let it go, because you can't hold that shit in, and that's what this is. And I love how we get the little tease at the beginning of that peak, and then eventually we do get the peak, and it's very, very good. I will be probably checking out Iron-Blooded Orphans in 2026. I can't guarantee it. If you want to check it out with me, feel free to go to the patreon.com/MarcoMeatball to watch anime episodes with me. Lots of good stuff in there, including The Witch from Mercury if you're a Gundam fan. Thank you so much. I will see you later. Bye.